Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today, as the title of this video suggests, I'm going to be going through all of the eyeshadow palettes that I have in my collection, and I'm going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the straight up ugly. There aren't that many ugly palettes in my collection, as in palettes that I absolutely hate, because I don't hate any of them, but it's kind of like if you have an ex-boyfriend, right? Okay, hear me out. So it's like if you have an ex-boyfriend and you're talking about him to one of your friends and you're like, you know, he was really cute, he had nice skin, he had nice hair, but like he played too many video games, you know? It's kind of like that. I don't know if that made any sense. Let me know if it did. Basically, I'm just going to give you guys a really quick review of each of the palettes, tell you guys what I like about them, what I don't like, and I'm also going to be swatching my favorite shade of the palette right here. Okay, I have lots of real estate today on my chest, so that is what I'm going to be doing, and let's get started. Why do I keep doing this? So to start off, I'm going to be talking about the Morphe 350. That is what this beauty looks like. You guys are no stranger to her. She has been in pretty much all of my videos because I love her. Okay, she's that friend that everybody needs. She will always be here for you. You can always rely on her.
She is the mother I never had. She is the sister everybody would want. She is the friend that everybody deserves.
Okay, if you are drunk at the club and you call her, she will pick you up. She will drive you home and she will get you McDonald's, okay? She is that friend. So you have some warmer tones on this side of the palette, whereas on this side you have more cooler tones. So that's why I think this palette is pretty much suitable for any skin tone. So this is actually one of the first eyeshadow palettes that I ever got, and I do think it's actually perfect for beginners because while it does have those neutral matte browns, it also has, like, you know, pops of orange, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of red and copper, so she's very versatile. So overall, I'd probably rate this palette like a 9.5 out of 10. The only, I guess, complaint that I have with it is that there's no mirror, but honestly, that doesn't bother me that much. She's a big girl. But she's very lightweight, like I could, like, you know? So if you do want to travel with her, I keep saying her like it's a person. I hope that's not annoying you guys. Yeah, you could definitely travel with this palette, and this could be the only palette that you bring on a vacation and you'd be okay. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't have to pack this palette with another palette. Me, I do, because I like to have a lot of options, but if you are very simple, you could just travel with this palette and you would be fine. So as for what my favorite color is in this palette, it's got to be this coppery reddish orange at the very bottom of the palette. It's a beautiful metallic. I use it a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch that for you guys. I just realized I'm wearing a white shirt and I'm probably going to get eyeshadow on it. Oh well. Oh my goodness. Do y'all see that? I feel like I'm like dancing, like, I don't know. But anyways, yes, this is just such a beautiful color. I think it would look good on pretty much any skin tone. That was my quick review of the Morphe 350. Alright, so the next palette that I'm going to talk about is this little guy by Colourpop. This is one of their palettes where you kind of pick the colors that you want and then you put it into a palette. So it's not like a palette that they sell, but I still wanted to review it just because technically it is a palette. So I picked this fuchsia magenta color, a bright golden yellow. This is kind of a cross between an orange, a red, and a pink. And then this one is just a pink metallic. This is kind of just a general review of Colourpop shadows. They are pigmented, but they're not as vibrant as I would like. But they're good. They are very good. Okay, don't get me wrong. But for me, Juvia's Place is kind of the standard of, like, the best eyeshadow that I have ever tried. So naturally, I compare every eyeshadow to Juvia's Place. And these ones do fall a little short. But on their own, like, if you're just comparing them within themselves, they are so good. It's easy to build them up or keep them sheer. So for example, if I did really want to build up this color in the crease, like, you could. Or you could also keep it very sheer and just give yourself like a little kiss of that color if that's what you're into. Something to note though is that there is a little bit of kickback in the palette when you use it. I don't think you guys can see any in here, and that's because I haven't, excuse me, that's because I haven't touched this palette in a while. So my favorite color of these is definitely this yellow for sure. It's such a unique gold where it's very yellow toned, but also not like overbearingly yellow. You guys will see what I mean. So I have it on my finger, and I'm just going to swatch it right beside this bad boy. Oh my god, my swatches are terrible. I'm so sorry. If you were expecting this video to be like aesthetically pleasing, it won't be. So the next palette that I'm going to be talking about is the Zulu palette by Juvia's Place. You guys have also seen this one a lot on my channel because, like, look at her. She's so beautiful. You guys know when Kesha was like,
"The party don't start till I walk in."
The party does not start until you use this palette on your face. So if you're just looking at this for the first time, you might be like, girl, what the hell am I supposed to do with these colors? I don't know why you're from Texas, but maybe you are. The colors are very bright and they're very vibrant, and at a first glance you might not think that any of these are actually wearable, but trust me, you can do a lot with this palette. And another thing I want to say is look at this pan size. Look at the size of my face and look at this pan size. It's pretty big. And I know people say like size doesn't matter, but I feel like with eyeshadows, size matters. This goes back to what I was saying about people who might be scared of palettes like this. Something that you could do is, if you are maybe my skin tone or a tiny bit darker, this brown, you could use this as a bronzer. Okay? Who says that this just has to be an eyeshadow? Huh? Who? Tell me who. No one. Exactly. And if your skin tone is more deep dark, this fuchsia right here, I feel like that could be a really cool blush. Like if you're feeling bold, if you're feeling risky, I feel like this would be a really interesting blush. So you don't have to look at the shadow and think, oh my god, when am I going to use that on my eyes? Like you could use it anywhere. Anyways, I feel like I talk about this palette a lot on my channel, so I don't want to spend too much time here, but I'd probably rate it like a 9.5 to a 10 just because there are some colors that I don't use that often, but I know that if I wanted to use them, I would use it from this palette just because of the formula. So my favorite color from this palette is going to be this lime green right in the middle. I think it is so unique and just it blends really, really well on the eyes. So it's just going to go in with that right here. Wham bam, thank you ma'am. Hey, ooh. I like this. So the next palette that I'm going to be talking about is another one from Juvia's Place. This one is the Saharan 2 palette. This one is a little more wearable in my opinion than the one that I just showed you, mostly because of the more toned down orange. You have a nice plum here, and this is kind of a cross between a super dark brown and a purple. It's really beautiful. As you can see, these metallic shades are well loved by me because they're so nice and they blend so nice. I have done a look before with this color right in the center, this one and this one, and it just gives you that super dark, smoky, plummy, mysterious look. Now, I feel like the really standout color in this palette is this blue and this blue, but mostly this one because this blue is so beautiful. Okay. My favorite color in this palette is definitely this blue right here, so that's the one that I'm going to swatch for you guys. Ooh. Ooh, oh my goodness. She is so pretty. And actually, just to show you guys, because I know when I first looked at this palette, I saw this lighter blue and I was like, who is that for? Who is that going to look good on? So I'm going to go ahead and swatch that one as well. Just want to show you guys what it would look like if you are similar to my skin tone. So the next palette that I'm going to be talking about is by Colourpop, and this is their Give It To Me Straight palette. So this is what she looks like inside. As you can see, she has a lot of pinks, a lot of purples, and actually a few kind of rose gold colors. There's a bit of kickback in the pan when you are using this palette, so just be mindful of that. For the price, she's really, really good. If you don't want to splurge on like a Hooda Beauty palette, for example, you could definitely buy one of these palettes by Colourpop. I feel like this is kind of similar to the Desert Dusk palette by Hooda Beauty. The only thing that I do have to say about this palette is if you are going in with any of the metallics, make sure that you wet your brush, because if you don't, they can get kind of crumbly and kind of flake off. I'd probably rate it like 8.5, maybe an 8, but it's a good palette. I think my favorite color in this palette is probably this metallic purple right here at the bottom. It's called Be Blunt. So I'm going to swatch that one for you guys. Yeah, she is a little crumbly, like I can tell on my fingers, but it's still nice. Excuse me, ma'am, my hair is just in my way. Ooh. Now, like I said in my last video, swatches are not always indicative of how a shadow will perform on your actual eyelids, but this is just to give you guys the general idea. Okay, so the next palette that I'm going to be talking about is the Off Tropic palette by NYX. Now, I just did a review on this palette. If you guys haven't seen my review, I will link it in the description. But yeah, she's not exactly my favorite palette of the bunch. She's good, okay? Like, we can get along if we put our differences aside and work together. But in general, she is kind of hard to work with. I think the color selection is very pretty, but they just don't perform as nicely as I would like from colors such as this, because I feel like if you do want to work with such bright colors, you should make sure that it's in a formula that is good. Not saying that this formula is bad, but in my review video I mentioned my main kind of strife with this palette is that it is very similar in pricing to Juvia's Place, and if I remember correctly, I think some of the Juvia's Place palettes are actually less expensive than this, but Juvia's Place performs way better. So because of that, this palette was a little lackluster to me, but it's not terrible. There are a few colors that I actually really love. This purple, beautiful. This, beautiful. This color up here, beautiful. But you do have to work with them and spend a little extra time blending and finessing it to look exactly how you want. But if you don't mind doing that, then you might really enjoy this palette. Overall, I'd probably rate this palette like a 7 or 7.5. I think the main thing throwing me off is the price, because like I said in my video, I think it is like $18, and I'm like, if I'm paying $18, I kind of expect it to perform a little better than this one did. So my favorite color from this palette is probably this bright fuchsia right here, right above the purple. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch that. Alright, so the next palette that I'm going to be talking about is this bad boy from Hooda Beauty. This is the Ruby Obsessions palette. I'm not going to lie, I don't use this palette that often because, like, as you can see just looking at it, it's not an everyday palette. Maybe it is for you, but for me, it's definitely not an everyday palette. But that being said, this is not for the shy, this is not for the timid, this is not for the girl next door. This is the eyeshadow you use when you want to pop, when you want to shine, when you want to make sure that your ex sees you from across the room and misses you, okay? That is when you use this eyeshadow palette.
It's lit. Perfect.
Huda is famous for metallics and glitters, and I do think her company deserves that because these are so beautiful. Like, you can blind people with these eyeshadows. These palettes are very hyped on YouTube, and you can find other reviews on it, and you've probably seen other reviews on it. I'd probably rate this palette like an 8.5 or a 9. One of my main issues with this palette, I guess, or one of my main complaints was that it's called Ruby Obsessions. So let's play a game, okay? What color are rubies? Red! Yeah, if you said red, you're right. Rubies are red. Violets are blue. Is that how it goes? I don't know. And there is no pure red in this palette. Now, this color sometimes looks red on camera, but it's not. It's closer to an orange. I was kind of disappointed because I was like, okay, Ruby Obsessions, I'm expecting a red. And there is no red in it. I guess the only other thing that I would complain about with this palette is that it's $35. And she's tiny, alright? So look at my face and look at this palette. Is this worth $35? What do you guys think? Personally, I would have been okay paying like $20 for this, but I feel like $35 is a lot. Once you put on the extra $15, okay, I'm out. Okay, bench me, coach. I'm done for the season. But that being said, every single shadow in here is beautiful, so I do think that you are paying for quality rather than quantity. Anyways, my favorite shadow from this palette is probably the one right there on the top in the middle. I hope you guys can see that. She's a very bright fuchsia metallic. Every time I use this color on my eyes, I get so many compliments because it's honestly just so beautiful. The last palette that I'm going to be talking about is this beauty from Smashbox. This is the Cover Shot Matte Eye palette. She's about 5 years old, but don't sleep on Smashbox eyeshadows, okay? The formula of these are just so creamy and beautiful. This is the first eyeshadow palette I ever bought, and that is why the colors are so neutral and quote-unquote boring. But if you are into more natural makeup and you don't want people to know that you're wearing eyeshadow, but you still want to create that depth and kind of even out your skin a little bit on your eyes, this palette will be here for you. As you can see, it has a lot of tans, a few deep browns, and then it also has this really soft pink and a pretty deep purple. And the formula of this purple is so good. This eyeshadow formula is probably the best matte eyeshadows that I have ever tried in my whole life, and nobody talks about these anymore. I feel like these palettes were really popular a few years ago on YouTube, but now like it's silence. Nobody is talking about these, but they are so beautiful. They, like I said, they are some of the best matte eyeshadows that I have ever tried, hands down. For me, the standout color in this palette is the black. Excuse me. The standout palette, y'all. The standout color in this palette for me is the black. It is so rich and creamy. When I first got this palette, I used to use the black in my eyebrows. It was a darker time, alright? So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch that black for you guys. Ooh. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys a little close-up of what all of the eyeshadows look like. Alright guys, so there you have it. That was a very quick look at all of the eyeshadows that I have in my collection. Let me know in the comments, do you guys have any of these palettes? Are you thinking of buying any of them? If you are thinking of buying any of them, let me know in the comments which one really caught your eye. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have much else to say. I feel like I have enough eyeshadows to last me a lifetime. Are any of you guys like that? Like, looking through the palettes you guys probably saw, I do have some shades that are really similar to one another, but I still bought them. But yes, that is pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!